Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. The views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other therapist for that matter. Boom shakalaka done. I'd like to thank my sponsor, BetterHelp, BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/Chris Godinez. They're an online therapy company. They are affordable. It works out to about $65 a session. They have you do packages of, I think, 4. And it's just an awesome way to get into a therapist if you cannot get into one. They are international. So they are throughout the world, no matter where you are in the world. If you can't get into a therapist in your country, come to betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez and fill out the question, and they will place you with a licensed professional therapist, master's level or PhD level. So thank you, betterhelp.com/Chris Godinez. Okay, let's dive into the questions, shall we? Okay. My abuser admits to being narcissistic. Can they change? No. No. If they are exhibiting all or 5 of the characteristics of a narcissist, they don't change, guys. They don't. I know we want them to change. I know we wish that love was enough. It's not. So quickly, let's just go over the DSM-5, shall we? Okay. All right, hang on. There we go. Where are we? There we go. Nope. There we go. Okay. So, pervasive pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, need for admiration, lack of empathy beginning by early adulthood and presented in a variety of contexts is indicated by 5 or more. They only need 5 of these to be full blown. 1, has a grandiose sense of self-importance, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commiserate achievements. So they claim to have gone to colleges they didn't go to. They claim to have military service they didn't have. They claim to have done these amazing things when they haven't, because they're pathological liars. Is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. So they're always chasing after the perfect thing, the perfect this, the perfect that. Being successful and powerful and brilliant and, somatic, perfect body, perfect hair, perfect everything, or ideal love. So they're always chasing after that. Believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. So they're constantly, well, it needs to be the best of the best of the best of the best, and I can only associate with these people. And they literally look down their nose at people that can do nothing for them. So, in other words, they won't bother being kind to the wait staff or anybody that's not powerful in their minds. They have no sense of respect for anybody unless they can do something for them. Remember, we have no more meaning to them than this pen. So we are objects to them. And if we can't aggrandize them, if we can't do something for them, then we don't mean anything to them. Requires excessive admiration, constantly having to tell them how great they are. Because they're always like, tell me how great I am. Tell me how great I am. I'm great, right? They're always doing that kind of thing. So, so annoying. Has a sense of entitlement. Unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. So in other words, they're the ones that will show up late to a reservation. You make the reservation, they show up an hour and a half later, and they still expect to get the best seat in the house. And they will literally pitch a Karen fit if they don't. You know what I'm saying? So they expect people to, bend over backwards. If they say jump, you better ask how high. And if you don't, they will have a complete, because it hurts their ego, have a complete fit. Is interpersonally exploitive. They use people. They lie to people. They're con artists. They use people. They use their money. They use their con artists. Takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own ends. Drains bank accounts. Gets involved with somebody, drains their bank account. That's an abuser. Lacks empathy. Is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Unwilling. Okay, unwilling. Not that they can't, they're unwilling. So let's be clear about that. This is a choice, people. I mean, they're born without empathy, but they don't even try and they don't want to. Because if you're empathic with somebody, if you feel for somebody, if you recognize the higher power in the other person, you would never disrespect them. Let us be clear about that. And boy, howdy, have I seen a lot of disrespect lately out on the roads. I don't know what's going on. Everybody's angry and everybody's flipping everybody off and everybody's just nasty. And I'm like, okay, people, if y'all would just slow down for just 1 second and get in touch with your higher power and recognize that the higher power lives in everybody, y'all wouldn't treat each other like that. Damn. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, they lack empathy, unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. In fact, other people's emotions make them angry because they can't feel it and because then they have to own whatever they have done to harm that person, and they don't want to do that. So there's that. Is often envious of others or believes that others are envious of him or her. So they live in this fantasy where people are, oh, they're jealous of me. They want to be me. Or they're very jealous of other people. They do that all the time. Jealous of other people all the time. And they're snarky and nasty. So a healthy, normal person, let me clarify this. A healthy, normal person is happy when somebody does well. When I see one of my colleagues doing well, I'm thrilled. I'm like, thank God, go out and educate. Yay. Because the more education we get, the healthier the population, the less idiots will be running around. At least that's my fantasy, and that's what I'm going to live in. So anyway, the point being is that you're happy for people when they do well, when they achieve something. You're like, go you, instead of, well, that should have been me. Well, okay, well, you never actually did anything to get there. So again, that's, expecting recognition without actually having done the work. That's why they're jealous of people. Shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. So they're just freaking snoots, nose up in the air, looking down on other people, putting down people that can't do anything for them. They're just nasty. Do they change? Absolutely not. In the history of ever, there has never been a recovered narcissist. And anybody who tells you that is probably trying to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. So there that is. So what I've seen abusers do is they acknowledge that they're narcissistic, but they don't understand what that means. So a lot of them think, well, of course I'm a narcissist. Of course I am. Like it's a good thing, because they don't understand that being in an echo chamber all about themselves is not a good thing. It takes a village, people. It takes a village, and they're unwilling to walk out into the village because they're all ego. So anyway, there is that. I hope that answered the question. I'm sorry to deliver the bad news, but they don't change, guys. They don't. And I think what really trips us up as empathic people is that we want them to change because A, it would make the world a better place. And B, it would be nice because we fell in love with that person. But what we don't realize, at least at this stage when we're thinking, they're recognized, they're going to change. No, sweetie, they're not. They don't. They absolutely don't. Narcissists will go to therapy 1, maybe 3 times. And then as soon as they have to start working on themselves, peace out. Peace out. Yeah, they don't change. All right, my loves. After leaving, I'm depressed. How long does this last? Okay. I think I talked about this last week. I'm going to talk about it again this week. When we leave, whether we leave an abusive family or whether we are leaving an abusive romantic relationship, we are having to grieve the loss of what could have been. So in my book, where is my book? I wrote a book about this. What's Wrong with Your Dad? Oh my gosh, the pile of books I have over there. So this is my autobiography. This is what it was like growing up with somebody who was completely disordered and a drug addict. Yay. Let me just throw that on the ground, okay? I talk about that the saddest thing was dealing with the what ifs, if onlys. If only my dad had been sane. If only my dad had been willing to get help. If only my dad had been different. If only. And that's kind of, ooh, Lord, that's what kind of makes me a little verklempt here. That's kind of what makes the leaving of the abuse sad, is that we're grieving the if onlys, if only they were different, and if only if they got help, if only they had been, of course, yeah. So we're grieving the loss of the illusion. In a romantic relationship, we're grieving the loss of the illusion of the romantic partner being who they presented themselves to be in the beginning, which was the love bomb, love bomb, love bomb. Oh, look, I'm mirroring you. Oh, look, I'm Prince Hans. I'm just like you, blah, 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 you know? So it's grieving. We're grieving. We're grieving the loss of the illusion. Allow yourself to grieve. But, and world, when we grieve, you want to also remind yourself of the reality. So, in other words, write them a goodbye letter. Dear so and so, dear parents, dear romantic partner, dear friend, dear boss, dear whoever the abuser was. And the good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, the unforgivable, and at the very end, take your power back. So, in other words, when they love bomb, to us, that feels like love. It's not love. It feels like love. It's not love. And that's why in a few, like, month or so, I'm going to be doing one on love, respect, and friendship, so that, you know, everybody understands what the heck everything is. So it feels like love, but it's not. It's a game. They're throwing, you know, they're mirroring us. They're throwing out all these, oh, you're my soulmate, you're this, you're that, you're perfect, blah, blah, blah. And then once they get the hooks into you, that's when the abuse starts. And it's shocking. And then when we leave, we miss that illusion that was there in the beginning. We miss that because that was cool. That was, you know, that felt wonderful, but that wasn't reality. So we have to let go of the if onlys. So write a goodbye letter. The good, the bad, the ugly, the horrific, the unforgivable. At the very, very end, you know, you go through the love bombing. Wow, that felt really great. But then this happened, and then this happened, and then that happened. And then what the hell? And, you know, and then at the very end, you have to be like, you know what? The blinders are off. I see you. You have shown me who you are, and I believe you now. So goodbye in no uncertain terms. Go pound sand, whatever you need to say to them. It can be as as you need to, or it can be as not as you need to. You know, you write the letter however you need to, but at the end, make sure you say goodbye in no uncertain terms. So like, this is it. Goodbye. Get out of my head. I'm kicking you out. I'm raising the rent. Get out. I'm evicting you. Bye-bye. Go pound sand, whatever you need to say. I'm taking my power back. You don't get to live up here rent-free anymore. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. And then you trot it out to the barbecue. You read it out loud once. You do your grieving. You know, and you burn it. But then you immediately then go write every rotten thing they ever did, so that you can remind yourself that when your brain starts going back to, if only, okay, stop. Here's who they really are. I'm grieving the loss of the illusion. Absolutely. But here's who they really are. They've shown me who they are. This is who they really are. Because healthy, normal people don't seek to destroy other people. They don't harm other people. They don't say insanely untrue, cruel things to try to land a barb. That's what an abuser does. Healthy people would never do that. Again, please see higher power. Don't treat other people like dirt. If everybody just recognized that, it would be a much better world. Anyway, okay, so that's why you're depressed. And remember, the intense grieving takes a year in any kind of grieving. So whether you're grieving a death, or whether you're grieving a divorce, or whether you're grieving, you know, the loss of this relationship or whatever, the first year is the most intense because you have to get through all the firsts. You're going through the first, you know, holidays. So, you know, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. And you're also dealing with the first anniversaries of things. So like the first birthdays, anniversary of you guys getting together, anniversary of you guys breaking up. So the intense grieving takes a year, and they will continue to be popping into your head. So writing and burning is not a one and done. It's going to be a multiple writing and burning and evicting them. And one of the things that helps is if they continually pop up in your head, you keep telling yourself that is not real. That person never existed. That person is dead. And that kind of helps the brain. I know it's weird, but that kind of helps the brain to go, oh, you know, and pretty soon you stop thinking about them every damn day, which is good. So, and that's what you want to get to. So the intense grieving goes for about a year. Because of the nature of the abuse and because of the nature of them getting into our heads, it can take up to 3 years to really truly evict them. But here's the good news, bad news. In order to make it stick and in order to make it go a little faster, do the work. Do the work. Work on yourself. Do the Self-Esteem Workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Do CPTSD from Surviving to Thriving by Pete Walker. Do The Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. The Inner Child Workbook, Catherine Taylor, or Inner Child Workbook by Lucia Cappuccioni. So any and all of those will help, and it will help it stick evicting them, and it will help it stick getting you healthy and back on track. The other thing you want to do too is, yes, you're going to be grieving, but for the love of God, please continue to live your life. I see a lot of people like shut themselves away and are just really trapped in the grief. And a lot of that grief goes back to childhood issues. It goes back to the inner child. So that's why I'm saying get with a good trauma therapist, work this stuff through, really work on you. And it's so funny because people are like, oh, I don't have the time. I'm like, you have the time for you. You're the only one that will have the time for you. You are worthy of your own time, your own love, and your own attention. You must. If you want to get healthy, you must. You must. So there it is. I'm sorry, but do the work. So yeah, it can last, complicated grief can last up to 3 years. So absolutely. And this is complicated grief because they were abusive to us, and then they were nice to us, and they were abusive to us, and then they were nice to us. So yeah, so gentle with you. Do get with a good trauma therapist and start working on you, evicting this person, recognizing the reality that they lied to you, that this was an illusion you fell in love with, and they were damn good actors, And yeah, so that's what you want to do. All right, my loves, that's that. All right, let's see. How are we doing on time? Oh, we got plenty of time. So that's how long grieving usually lasts. If it's lasting longer than 3 years, definitely, I would say after realizing you've left an abuser, get with a good trauma therapist. That's going to be the way to help yourself the fastest. So there that is, but it has to be a good one. Why do narcissists create children with borderline? Okay, borderline is born of trauma. Borderline is born of trauma. Narcissists are narcissist dark triads are about as damaging as you can get with, okay? And they will throw their own children under the bus. They laugh. They're sadists. They enjoy harming. They enjoy hurting. It makes them feel powerful, and it's sick. And it's psychopathic. They're absolutely psychopaths. So that's why they create children that have personality disorders of their own, especially borderline, because borderline is born of trauma. So if you've got a parent or two that is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and is constantly harming, constantly hurting, constantly being sadistic or inconsistent, that's another thing. So narcissists will accept a child until the child starts developing their own personality, usually around age 2 or 3, maybe 4. And as soon as the kid starts getting their own personality, they will reject them. They get angry. They don't want to be bothered because the kid now has their own personality and says no. So, in the beginning, they try to make the kid the mini-me. And as soon as the kid shows any independence, boy, howdy, they're peace out. So inconsistent parenting, neglectful parenting, not being there, not being kind, not being a parent you can depend on, having a parent that was maybe sometimes there, maybe sometimes not, or was sometimes using drugs and alcohol and sometimes wasn't, or was, doing the abusive, I love you, I hate you, 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 which is immensely confusing to children. Or blaming that kid for everything that's wrong in the adult's life, or forcing that child to become an adult and hear all of the emotional stuff that the adult is going through. That's going to damage the kid. So borderline is created by trauma. You look at a borderline's family, and generally there's something weird going on some level. There's some trauma there. There's some inconsistency there. There's some form of abandonment there. So yeah, so that's why. So if someone has been, and not everybody goes on to develop a personality disorder. I want to be very clear about that. So you can have 5 kids and one of them will develop BPD and the rest of them won't. So who knows? Nature, nurture. I think there's a predisposition to that. So really, if you suspect you have borderline personality disorder, there is the Borderline Survival Guide by Chapman and Gratz. Good book. You want to get with a good DBT therapist that is well versed in trauma and start working on the trauma, recognizing that you weren't the problem in the family. The adults were the problem in the family, and it wasn't your fault. So, yeah, so there is that. Okay, hope that answers that question. So, BPD is born of trauma. That's why. Oh my gosh. A friend of mine is dating someone I think is abusive. Do I tell them? Oy. Okay, here's the deal. You could, and be prepared to lose the friendship. So, some targets of abuse, not all, but some targets of abuse, a lot of targets of abuse, won't be ready to hear it. If they're dating an abuser, they won't be ready to hear it. They'll defend the abuser. You'll set up a Romeo Juliet situation. So, if you've ever read Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet were the two, their names, Capulet and never remember the other one. I'll think of it. Anyway, so two families feuding, the two teenagers fall in love. And of course, the more the families opposed it, the more the teenagers were like, let's elope and then we'll die. Okay, fabulous. Stupid. I hate that frickin' play. I really do. I love Shakespeare. Don't get me wrong. I do love Shakespeare. But some of the themes, I'm just like, y'all just need to sit on a couch and talk to me about your parents. Seriously. Oh, God. Anyway, so... you create a Romeo Juliet situation where they will bond because now you're the bad guy. So remember, abusers need a drama triangle: the villain, the victim, and the hero. So if you tell your friend that they are dating an abuser, then they're going to run right back to the abuser, and the abuser is going to go, excellent, and they're going to be like, okay, she's against us or he's against us, and it's us against them, and you're the victim, he or she is the hero, and your friend, you're the villain. Sorry, you're the villain because you're the bad guy now because you've pointed it out. Your friend is the victim and the abuser is the hero in their little weird triangle, their little weird drama triangle. So be prepared to lose the friendship is basically what I'm saying, because they're generally not ready to hear it. And if they run back to their abuser and tell them, which is what they usually do, because remember, they've been groomed to overshare. So you'll be the villain and the abuser will make sure that you're no longer friends. And it's kind of one of those no-win situations. If you say nothing, are you complicit? Well, yeah. If you say something, you're probably going to lose the friendship. So I would go ahead and say something. That's just me. And just be like, I'm kind of concerned. I'm seeing this. Do you see this? Or am I just smoking the ganja? So you can come at it with a kind of a curious kind of thing. Hey, I'm seeing this. Are you seeing this? Kind of thing. And see how it goes. If they get immediately defensive, then you've hit a brick wall. So, but honestly, I would rather say something and then have the friendship blow up rather than not say anything and then something horrible happens because this person is an abuser. So, but it's probably not going to end well. So let me just warn you with that. Why? Because we've got cognitive dissonance going on. So when you tell an abused person, hey, I see you're being abused, their brain is going to start smoking, like seriously, like the engine has no oil in it, because the abuser is going, oh, but I love you, but I love you, but I love you. There are cases, a lot, of domestic violence and child abuse where the abuser has been beating the living crap out of the person and at the same time telling them, this isn't happening, I'm not hitting you, I love you, da-da-da, and just crazy. So there's cognitive dissonance going on. So incoming information is not matching what's happening, and it causes confusion in the target of abuse's brain. So when somebody comes in and goes, hey, I'm seeing abuse, do you see this? More than likely what they're going to do is they're either going to run back to their abuser and tell them, or they are going to kick out the information you just told them and completely, oh, I never heard that. Oh, that's not happening. You never said that, blah, blah, blah. Because they can't handle the truth. They can't handle the incoming information. They're not ready. So until, again, kind of like an alcoholic, because there is an addiction part to this, we're not addicted to the abuse, we are addicted to the abuser, because they do the intermittent positive rewards and they give us this hope. They dangle this carrot of hope. Oh, well, now I'm nice to you. Oh, well, now I'm not. Now I'm nice to you. Now I'm not. Well, you need to do this and I'll be nice to you. So it's very addictive. That's how they brainwash POWs, is intermittent positive rewards. So when incoming information comes in that conflicts with what the abuser is saying, it's going to create cognitive dissonance in the target of abuse, and they're probably either going to outright tell you to go screw yourself, or they're going to do that whole brain smoking, confused, can't take in the incoming information, go back to the abuser and tell them, and then you're going to be on the outs anyway. So but I would rather tell them. I really would, because the hope is that at some point down the line they wake up, but it doesn't always happen. They don't always wake up. So there that is. Okay, how are we doing on time? Oh, this will probably be the last question. What do I do when they start to sound like a shrink? Okay. Yeah. Okay, abusers love to get onto channels like mine and or read up on psychology and start trying to use psychological manipulation. If they start sounding like a shrink, you walk the hell away. You do. It's like, I'm sorry, do you have a degree in this? You don't. How about you shut up? There you go. There have been people that have absolutely no degrees in psychology that will try to fling around psychological terms, and they don't know what they're talking about. And honestly, that is one of the traits of psychopathy and narcissism, is that they get just this much knowledge and they think they have this much knowledge, and it's like, you don't know what you're doing. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. So when they start flinging around psychological terms, you walk away, because they're basically they're bull-essing, you know what I'm saying? And they're trying to make you think that they know something you don't. That's one of the hallmarks of narcissists, is that they try to pretend to be something they're not. And also psychopaths. But if they start flinging psychological terms, you walk away. Go no contact, walk away in the conversation. It's like, hey, when you get your psychology degree, call me, because right now I'm not buying this. Bye-bye, So yeah, that's what you want to do. And unfortunately, narcissists are very much attracted to my profession because of the power differential. So, there's a lot of psychiatrists out there that are just narcissistic as the day is long. And there's a lot of doctors out there that are just narcissistic as the day is long. So just be careful of who you go to see. There's a lot of doctors that are narcissists too. I tell you what, the second a medical professional is condescending or dismissive or anything like that, I fire them. I'm just like, you know what? Biatch, I ain't got time for this. I need somebody who's listening. Thank you very much. And it's funny because then you go on to read the websites and it's like, oh, look, other people have seen this too. Okay. So, they're very attracted to power differentials. You'll often find a lot of narcissists in positions of power. So judges, lawyers, police, doctors, psychiatrists, counselors, etc. When I was going through school, oh my God, and I write about this in my other book. Sorry, I'm like plugging all my books today. Where is my other book? There it is. So You Want to Be a Therapist. I talk about the people that were in my class, and I'm just like, please remove yourself from my profession. Thank you. They were there for the power. They were there for the control. They were there for all the wrong reasons. So, okay. So, yeah, when they start talking like a psychologist or throwing around psychological terms, leave. In the conversation, leave. And of course, they'll take that as they won. But the reality is you need to evaluate why you have them in your life. So if they are abusive and they're throwing around psychological terms, cut all ties, go no contact, save yourself. So there it is. All right, my loves, that's it. And what am I going to be talking about? Oh my God, I can't remember. Holy crap. I really need to put stuff up that goes, hey, this is what you're going to be talking about next week. Anyway, I will be talking about something on Sunday. I don't know what, but so you guys have a great week. Drink plenty of water. It's freaking hot. And I will talk to you on Sunday.